Hello and welcome to another special edition of Storyboard. This week we've got Mark Patterson, CEO, Group M Asia Pacific, and we're going to do a whole show with him simply because media is getting so complicated that hopefully he'll demystify the state of media for us. Welcome, Mark.
I'll try. Not easy.
Not easy, I agree. So, as I go on having conversations, one of the most difficult things to do is predict the business.
Yes.
So how do you deal with this? In the old days you had a quarterly projection, half-yearly, annual, and then you had a flash monthly report.
Yeah. So we still do all of that.
But how much of it makes sense?
Well, I think that it's interesting because the challenge is this, the need to deliver the short term, the now, and the next month, the next quarter. That then, but at the same time you're having to think about next year and the 3 years and the 5 year. So you have these longer term strategic growth initiatives and plans that always have this tension against the need to deliver today and now. And I guess any business has those tensions. So it's always, I think, as a leader and a manager, something you grapple with. But I think you're right. It's always been hard to predict the future in our industry. It's getting harder. And change is a constant. The only thing that I think is certain about change, it's going to be faster, less predictable, and more volatile. So, but I think for lots of us in the industry, that's what keeps us motivated and inspired and gets us out of bed in the morning to say let's have another go, because we don't know what's around the corner. It's part of the excitement, but also part of the challenge.
It can be demotivating to many managers when they keep failing, and you fail for no reason of no fault.
Are you saying we're failing?
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people in this business. It's not about about you or about Group M.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. It's a bit of a cliche, but you learn through failure, and it's good to have a culture where you can try new things and learn through mistakes or things that didn't go quite so well. That's something that you have to have as a healthy business. But I think the point about change, I think it's right. It's not for everybody, and we see our business move so fast, and some people find that too challenging, can't keep pace, don't want to keep pace, and it is relentless and it's exhausting. But for some that's exhilarating, for some that is just too much. And I think as a business, one of the challenges we have is identifying those people who thrive on change, and obviously, making it clear to those people who can't keep pace. Right. People say to me, "What's the thing that keeps you awake at night?" It's that sort of sense that we can't change quick enough. Right. And as a big organisation, sometimes large organisations can suffer from inertia or bureaucracy or process that might slow you down. So it's a fascinating theme and something we live with every day.
I'll stay with what you're saying. One of the problems we're seeing in India, I don't know what it is in the rest of Asia Pacific, is acute pressure on people.
Absolutely,
and the talent pool is small, and in a way it's shrinking because the demand is growing, and the cost goes up, and you have a lot of very unhappy people.
I think it is a high pressure business, and it's not getting easier, and that we have our values as a company say that we will try and respect and look to respect that work-life balance that we put people under, whether it's leaders or people in different parts of the business or people who've just come into the business. There's pressure top to bottom. It's interesting. I have an app on my phone. We have a course that as a sort of aid for managers to help them with resilience and stress and pressure. So we're trialing an online application that's on my phone now that I downloaded actually this week, that our training and development team have put in place, that basically is there to try and help relieve some of the tension day to day that managers suffer. So stress is absolutely an apparent factor, and something as a company we have to try and tackle. And we see attrition rates increasing. We see it sometimes harder to attract people to our industry because of reputation of the sort of sheer level of work. It's common in particularly in Asia, particularly in many markets where the sort of work ethic is particularly strong, where there's clear hierarchies and this feeling that there's an agency, and the agency-client relationship is sort of sometimes not as partner-esque as we want it to be. Sometimes it's a bit more supplier. So it does put people under a lot of pressure.
But do you think it's time now to release some of that pressure? Because I've seen it from the outside. I've seen it building across India, certainly. in the last 2-3 years?
Well, I think as a company we try and find ways and means to release pressure. Whether that is in some of the sort of small stuff, the fun stuff, the activities, giving people time off, giving people the ability to work from home and remotely, some of the sort of things that we will subsidize or services that we'll provide in the office environment, to try and some of these small things to try and release that day-to-day pressure. We're always open to new ideas, and we see ideas come up in some markets that we take to others. And it is absolutely crucial. And we are a business built around talent.
Right.
Obviously, increasingly, we're a business built around technology, but fundamentally, we're as strong as the team that we have. And if we don't look after and nurture and develop that team, then it becomes a problem. And it does feel like the pressure isn't abating. But I would say, talk to any service business, I don't think it's the domain of agencies. Most leaders, you say, what's your number one challenge? It will revolve around talent in some shape or form.
Okay, and in India particularly, the cost of talent.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of pressure in the last few years because your competition is all woken up, they're all growing.
Well, we're still growing.
Sure. But the happy hunting ground is
of course. And again, we have this in every market, in the region that I manage, where we are the leader in terms of scale, but we're a leader more importantly in terms of skill and reputation, and we spend a lot in terms of training and development. And so when people have been with us for a period of time, other companies know they're well trained, and we are obviously the picking ground for many talented people. What we find is we get quite a lot of that talent come back. We work hard to retain the people we think have the greatest potential. We're not always successful. One of the challenges we have in this region is we lose more people to the client side. When we have new global media players coming into the markets like Facebook and Twitter and Google, again, our people are are targeted there. So we are obviously fighting on many fronts, but there's a lot to be said for working in a group like ours, in an industry like ours. I don't think there's been a better time to work in a media agency in India or in many parts of Asia. Media is front and center now. We used to be the sort of, when I first started, very much at the end of the agenda. It was the creative work and the production, and then media and any other business. But we've come a long way. So we sit at the top table. So if you're in a media agency now, there's never been a better time. I think as an industry, we've got to sort of promote ourselves as an industry more and more to young people. I
was going to come to that. You've got a new logo.
Yeah.
We can discuss.
Going to need a lot more than that.
Is there a case now that as advertising agencies, the creative agencies have done well, that you have to do more about your brand and build it and shout from the rooftops what it stands for?
I think that's absolutely right. We formed Group M 6 or 7 years ago. We didn't give it, if we're honest, enough thought about what that group, what it stood for internally, what the values were, what the vision and mission was. And we've now, we tend to focus very much on the work and think that that's less important, where an ad agency may actually, really spend more time and attention on that. We've now realized that we've created a new vision, a new set of values that create our culture and behaviors. And it's important to do that. We've taken the time and effort to do it, to sort of refresh ourselves and say this is where we want our company to go, and what we want to be. Because I think young people expect a company to have some purpose. They expect it to have a mission, a clear vision and a set of values, and it's taken us time to really articulate those.
And how do you ensure they don't remain words in a PowerPoint presentation and translate into...
I think, we've taken a multimedia approach to internal communication. We spent time and money to do it, have people focused and dedicated on it. But the reality is it's incumbent on people like myself and other senior leaders to live and breathe those values, to sort of, communicate them and evangelize them through the business, but in an authentic way. You can't, like you say, you just can't put it on a sort of notice board and pin a notice up and expect behaviors to change. It's a long-term process. But important. I'm a firm believer. I'm fascinated by company cultures, and I think they are driven by management, by leadership, by clear articulation of values. And again, we have 70% of our workforce in Asia. We have 8,000 people. 70% of those people's age begins with a 2. They're essentially millennials.
Right.
Their aspirations and their motivations are quite different to my generation's.
Absolutely.
So we have to tap into that and understand it. And hence, we do a lot more in the CSR side, what we do and what we try and give back to communities at a local, regional, or global level. It's crucial stuff.
We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Mark with pressures and margins and how the industry as a whole, and Group M in particular, gets its hands on a solution to it.